Welcome back on Diorama. Today I want to propose you a video about the unboxing review about the 6th book of the campaign of the Dawnbringer Crusades, the Hounds of Chaos. Here you can see the book itself, that I think that it's really quite nice as images and so on, really quite good. And so here remember that I made the video also about the other ones that you can find eventually in the description. So we have the book 1 Harbinger, had the book 2 Reign of the Brute, had the book 3 The Long Hunt, then we have book 4 con The Mad King Rises, and book 5 con Shadow of the Crone. So it's really quite intriguing, and remember that this as book is going to be released and has been released really quite close to the release of the new edition, so about the rules can be changed quite fast compared to the release of such book. Still, the background inside it's really quite amazing, and we see it because I'll treat mainly about the background inside. So now we can go to open this book and see what's inside. The first thing to notice anyway, it's about the cover, that it's Abraxia, the leader of the Sword of Chaos, and it's a really amazing character, and the main character that we see is related about the Ghyran part of the campaign in this book, and it's really quite amazing, both as artwork, that it's fantastic, and we see also as model. So now we can open and really admire such book. And here you can see the back cover, that it's amazing. I quite like. It's practically a Ghyran forest, and it's much better when I'm filming than seen from real, and it's a bit of pity that there isn't a similar part that it's color one inside the book. Still, it's really quite amazing to admire because it has quite a lot of detail and give quite a lot of wild feeling about, so I quite like it. Here we can see something similar to a fleet. It is recorded how those 20 new cities has been founded, but also how in the old times the arrogance of the Sigmar serfs had to clash against those whom had challenged and beaten the gods. The darkness draws in. Will be the war strong enough? This time the rules are more than the background part, but the rules themselves disclose a lot of background, so they are really quite interesting. In the page aside, we can see the new models that are in the box Abraxia Avalanche Spear of the Dawnbringer Crusade linked to this book, led by Abraxias versus the cities of Sigmar. They can be related to Chaos, but they are really amazing. In The Toll of Ruin, here are summarized the contents inside. About the background, the cities of Verdigris in Ghyran and Embergard in Aqshy, after lots of Paris, are forced to clash against the armies respectively of Abraxia, leader of the Swords of Chaos, and the Dark Coat, led by Gunnar Brand. It's also quite interesting to see the text aside, where Gunnar talk, and we can see that the Dark Oath are really quite aware of their own situation, and it's really quite interesting. Without forgetting the Khorne armies battle against the Stormcast Eternals. There are still a lot of mysteries to solve. Those will be revealed later. About the rules side, there are the rules to play the chaotic armies and the continuation and ending of the Path to Glory rules about the Dawnbringer Crusade campaign. Additionally, is included a Path to Glory campaign related to the Realm of Chaos. As usual, there is also the call to buy the core book for Chaos, but you have to remember that it is the 3rd edition one, Dominion. This campaign book is released quite close to the publishing of Chaos 4th edition, Scaventide. In the Hounds Rampant, here is the summary about the adventures of the Crusades of Ghyran and Aqshy, in addition to Hammeral, memory recalled about the main characters and the suspended themes. Embergard is threatened by the Dark Gods, Verdigris is shaken by riders clad in black armor thundering toward the city, Hammeral is still sieged, the Shadow of Kragnos still in Ghyran. Everything is happening while the prophecy, from blood in loyal faith, that given one city should rise and one city should be riven, that has been seen in the first book still echoes, hidden in the underground of Hammeral. It's also interesting the conversation in the box where two characters are shown having a dialogue at Embergard about the resources found, while a Skaven is spying them. This shows a presence about Skaven more and more important. In the words of Verdigris, Abraxia is at the Verdigris doors. It is described the brutality and the strength gains inside the Swords of Chaos. Crusaders' side, instead, there is the description about the forces and the defenses constructed, even if with really heavy sacrifices. Marshal Torian herself is afflicted. The mass part of her body is transmuting to bark, even if she is still able to hide it, step by step falling to the calling of Ghyran, having used continuously the druidic magics. The destiny of the city is shaking. In Vessel of Blasphemy, Abraxia and the Sword of Chaos are at the final assault to Verdigris. The defenders are readying themselves for their last stand. The last Crusaders Knights launch their last charge, so intrepid to gain respect even from Abraxia. All is lost for Verdigris, and the destruction brought by the Sword of Chaos to the forest around Verdigris to make the defenders fall in desperation instead is a calling to the evergreen hunt led by Beltanos that charge at the back of the Sword of Chaos, interrupting the charge of Abraxia and their forces. Not all the Vanguard follow the Abraxia orders, so part of them continue to slay towards Verdigris. Marshal Torian collapsed into unconsciousness at the sound of the horn of Beltanos, drawn out by the energies of Ghyran. Abraxia is afflicted too by the presence of Beltanos, and we found out in the box a dialogue with Archon that she has been cursed and needs a fire hidden in Everspring Swat, a region in Ghyran, to purge it. It's a bit funny to think that to purge the curse, Abraxia has to use a flame from the other side. Verdigris is saved now, but other sacrifice will be the price to gain the city the time. It's also interesting that it is revealed the conspiracy of Archon with the Skaven. In Phoenix Stands, here we can see a stronghold kept together by elves and humans together, Phenicum, prepare themselves to war led by the S, who seem being conscious of Paris, but they don't say anything to the humans, not even to the Stormcast Tenants in garrison, the Lions of Sigmar. The relationship about elves and humans has always been pacific in the city, but the events of Anvilgard happened with the Brokerium events when Moratti forcefully has taken ownership of the city, makes see in a suspicious way this city militarization, moreover when new Luminate arrangements come from Haish to support. Together, the Luminate also the twins Elenia and Elator comes. They are shown in the side page receiving a prophecy about a threat by Chaos to Phenicum. Here is hidden the flame that Abraxia is searching for, the flame of the pure phoenix, and the skies turned crimson. In Cyclonic Siege, Verdigris is without any leadership. The defenders are bounded by fear. They stay inside, while the remaining warbands are annihilated by the Evergreen Hound. Abraxia, meanwhile, is leading the Sword of Chaos to Phenicum. Archon invoke demons to create temporary realm gate to support Abraxia, whom, skirting the very edge of the realm of chaos, arrive above the Phenicum itself. Abraxia, using her own force of will, directs the magic winds to not drop them, and the Sword of Chaos assault the heart of the city, while the Illuminate rise to stop them. In the Swords of Chaos, Abraxia and the Sword of Chaos trample on the defenses. The magic protections are corrupted. The defenders stricken down. Abraxia defeat the High Atronate Torelite that fall in the temple, breaking the roof. Abraxia resists more and more, struggling to the delusions caused by the curse. The road is open. The flame awaits. In the Pyre of Hope, Abraxia violate the Sancta Sanctorum where the flame is hidden. As protection to the flame, there is the fusion of the flesh of the High Atronate Torelite, defeated just before, and the flame itself. The combat is intense, and Abraxia is immersed in the fire, in a scene that recalls a lot the one about Malekith in the Old World, the armor fusing with her own flesh. Abraxia defeats the Avatar and devours alive, both flesh and essence. It's important to notice in the box how Elania and Elator are escaping, covering the refugees' retreat. In their hand, the spark of the sacred fire, the only fledgling ember that has followed them. The prophecy, in a way, has happened. In a ruinous harvest, here you can see the situation in Ghyran. Verdigris has survived at the cost of Fenicum. The defenders of Verdigris are shaken by both the invasion of the Sword of Chaos and also the fury of Beltanos who freed them. With the fall of Fenicum, all the region of Quagmia seemed to be poisoned by the Chaos energies. From blood in loyal faith glad given, one city should rise and one should be riven. Also, the additional boxes are important because they show the after effect at Verdigris. The defenders survived of Fenicum and the surrounding of Fenicum itself. In Against the Corrected, we can move now to Aqshy. Embergard asks for reinforcement, but the council is divided between merits by the new stronghold and the corrected ceaselessly attacks. The idea is to send the Stormcast Tennas, but Valdus wants to hunt Korsgo School. The archaeologist Val Petras report that the surroundings of the adamantine chain is dangerous to reach other than marching overland, cause green lighting dangerous even for the Stormcast Tennas are storming around, calling something the green. It's decided so to divide the forces. Suggested by Valdus, Gabriel Suhert is chosen to lead its chamber to support fast Embergard. Valdus instead is going to attack the Corrected far from Hammeral to weaken the horde. First, Marshal Vedra accompanies Valdus. She has to lead the regiments so that Valdus and this chamber are free to search for their own vengeance. In the box we can see Valdus battle the Corrected and fall the last of the Curse cycles. Forgotten memories surface again and Valdus is furious. In Enough Betrayed, here we can find out about the divisions and alliances between the Dark Oath and the reasons of their hate towards the Sigmarite, whom are branded having broken their promises. The Dark Oath are cooperating with the Skaven to pollute the Arcane Ley lines and the Nexus around the Adamantine chain and beyond, while the Skaven sell out the name of Archon as guarantee. The chieftains are meeting to discuss when one of them doesn't arrive, and they investigate about the reason. They discover the settlement is annihilated by the Skaven they should be allied with. The fury of the chieftains is immense because the oath betrayed. Every rivalry set aside, the vengeance to claim. In A March into Ruin, here we had the Dark Oath searching for the hiding of the Skaven in Chakri's Folly, discovering a territory more and more devastated and mutated, the terrain pulsing with green energies. While struggling avoiding internal fighting, at the end they violate a service tunnel and find out a Skaven settlement. They assault and destroy the settlement while ignoring their own losses, and then they continue along the road. Far away, bells ringing echoes. In the box, we can see Gabriel Suhert battling against the Gortide at the edge of the Adamantine chain. The enemy leader is Korsgo School, and Gavin realizes that Kul is ignoring them. He is waiting for Valdus. It's anyway funny to see how Valdus has left on another road to hunt Korsgo School, and Gavin is the one to meet him on the road originally meant for Valdus to take. In Butcher of the Parch, here we can see the flashback stories about Valdus, Korsgo School, and Gabriel Suhert. Valdus, back to Hammer, realized to have sent to death Gabriel and ran with his chamber through the cursed skies. It seems Gabriel, a single Stormcast, is more important than the ones that are following his leadership. Korsgo regained clear mind from his fixation toward Valdus when the latter arrived on the site and is furious. In the fury of Valdus, Kul calmed his own mind. Korsgo School ignore Valdus, humiliating him, and meet in duel Gabriel in a fight of mutual destruction. Gabriel is beheaded and his soul forbidden to return to Azir, and Cool dying, satisfying the last claim of Khorne, the school of a Lord Celestant, ascend and transform. And then death comes from the mountains. In the folly, the Dark Oath reach the Warpstone Foundry and assault it. They notice a tower with a giant bell that is slowly ringing toes. The energy taken from Warpstone lenses lodged into the earth. The Dark Oath recognize those lenses, similar to those they collaborated to install, and they understand that they have to destroy them. But before they can destroy the first lance, it comes the 13 toll. The tower plunged itself in the terrain, creating crevices, and from those multitude of rats emerge and fuse together. Screech Vermicking has arrived. In Vermidum, what seemed a tower is a driller that moves more and more in the depth of Aqshy. In the dialogue of Dark Oath and the Vermicking, the first find out that they have been betrayed by not only the Skaven but also Archon, having him knowledge about the rat's plan. The Dark Oath run away from the tunnel, but only a few of them survive, followed by the collapse of the terrains around, and a warpstone explosion trampled the lands around the mountain chain. The homes of the Dark Oath destroyed, Black City emerged. The products of the new edition are here, the Vermidum. Gunnar now wove vengeance, but to who? This is a beautiful imaging about how it should have appeared to Sigmarites, especially Embergard, the immersion of Black City and the destruction brought. In a realm node, here we can see in detail about the plan of the Skaven and the destiny of Embergard, saved by the destruction brought by the Dark Oath, but still at the edge of the immersion of Black City. A pyroclastic warflame still trampling the Embergard, tumbling its guardian Eidos, and endless swarms of vermins emerging. From blood in loyal faith, glad given, one city should rise and one should be riven. The map is extremely important to understand the scale of destruction brought by the Skaven, and remember that only a part of Black City has emerged. In the boxes, we can instead see how, even at Hammeral, the toll of the city of Skaven has been heard. The final clash of Stormcast and Gortide has been halted, the destiny of the two leaders unknown, Kul ascended, and Valdus missing. In the last fragment, simply the vision of the efforts of the clans set Skaven. In Abraxia, Spear of the Everchosen, here the background about Abraxia, a really charismatic character, and the artwork at the side give perfect glory to the Chaos Champion herself. In Brands Outbound, here we can see the main characters of the Dark Oath, who has been described inside the book, introducing them in a richer way. In Masters of the Dark Oath, here is described how is the chief of the tribe of the Dark Oath selected, and the culture about the oaths. It is also introduced the importance about the riders. In Warriors of the Wastes, here is instead the description about the Warriors of the Dark Oath and the Welder Fiends. The Welder Fiends are those chieftains and elders whom has mutated, failing to fulfill their oaths, corrupted in body and mind. Here an image that shows Embergard in ruins. Vader arrived at Embergard and find the acolytes wearing a broken wheel and transporting an empty palanquin. Zenestra is missing. Desolation in the mind of the survivors. Here we find Marshal Torian staggering through the black alleys of Verdigris while moving toward the forest, attracted by the sound of the horn of Betanos, like she is called, with the moonlight of Moon Kurnalun that shines down on her. Antlers seem to appear on her brows. Here we have a dialogue between Archon and Abraxia after she has completed the conquest of Ur Phoenix and absorbed the flame. Abraxia realizes Something related to the Skaven is happening with the support of Archon, who switch her back to see the conquest that is waiting for her. Here we are accompanying Valdus and Ionus. We find out that the missing Valdus has been trampled together with the Gortide and the Stormcast by the after-effects of the Mansion of Blessed City. Valdus has been brought by Ionus in the Ruination Chambers, and it's emotional to see Ionus console the friend lost in his own memories. The monologue of Ionus that asks himself about the destiny of Valdus, the Stormcast, the will of Sigmar, to accept it. And then here we can see the part about the sceneries, because we can see the reconstruction of the scenes that we've seen inside the background, represented with the models, and I quite like. So Abraxia that assault Verdigris, then that go to assault Phoenix. So it's really quite nice to see about such amazing models. It's really quite nice. Here we can see also related about the Dark Oath. Here we can see Valdus against the Gortide. Here we can see the Skill Verminkin against the Dark Oath. And here we can see instead about the Minotaurs, we can see so the models, the Dark Oath, Abraxia. It's really quite amazing. I love such thing because it can give you quite a lot of ideas. Also this can be really quite intriguing because we can see really the battle for Phoenix, and it's amazing one. And you can also appreciate about the sceneries and so on, the scenic features that could be a good way to personalize eventually your battlefield and so on. I think that it's really quite amazing. And then we had the part about the rules. In this case, related about Path to Glory. So it's a way to use the rules to represent the campaign. And I think that it's really quite nice. Remember that this is the final part of such campaign. And if you combine with the other ones, you can have quite a lot of material about. So we have also the battle plan related to recreate certain things, so certain battles and so on. I think that it's really quite nice. Also then understand how you can conclude your battles. So based on the result and so on, you can then continue or finish the campaign, or really quite a lot of information. I quite like such things. And here we had this, that it's really about the background, about the chaotic part. So the Sword of Chaos and the Dark Oath. Here about the shining future that it's inside, so the corrupted Nexus. Here we had the rules to play official ones for Age of Sigmar for the 3rd edition Dominion, that it's related about Abraxia. Here we had this, that it's the Nexus Chaotica, so the one that it's the corrupted way for the Chaos to use the Nexus, so it's really quite interesting. You can see so here the Avant-Garde one, so it's really quite nice to see in this way. And I had the rules official one to play with the Army of Renown for the part related, so it's really quite intriguing for the Sword of Chaos. It's really quite nice, it's a way to play them. And here instead the part about the same thing, but for the Dark Oath. So we can see quite a lot of things related, quite nice. Then we have also the other models that are related, because we don't have only the Regiment of Unknown, but we have also the way to play with the Dark Oath themselves. So it can be really quite intriguing to represent such one, and I think that it's quite nice. So again, nice. And then we have this, that it's something quite intriguing, because it's a way to play with Path to Glory, but to create your own chaotic champion. It's a sort of envy of Apocalypse that has been brought in the past, in the General Handbook in the past, or in other White Dwarf. And I quite like such things, because you can create a sort of campaign, but personalizing step by step your champion. And I love such thing, because it's little about Mordim and so on, but I quite like to see and change the champion based on the progression of a background that it's associated to that champion. That can be related about Chaos, about Nargol. So it's really quite intriguing, and you have all the rules. And really, I suggest you to see this, because it can be fun, even only to play with this, to create your own champion, maybe for apply also in other editions and so, but it's a way to have a concept to create your own champion, maybe to modify. It's really quite nice. Really a lot of things of personalization and so on. It's Chaos, so you have quite a lot, because you can personalize this by rules, or even create the background using, but also create the model with such things, so it can be really quite intriguing in my opinion, and you have really a lot of options about to use, and there is quite a lot of background too that you can add thanks to a lot of rules inside, so I suggest you to think about. They have the battle plans related, that it's a way to play, and sincerely I think that it's really quite nice, and you can see different ways to play with, so it's amazing one. Here we can see that there is this, that is the way to compile so that you can create. Here again the battle are Phoenix that it's going to go on, so it's quite nice in my opinion. They have these, the points that are alive for the time that you need, don't worry too much anyway. And I've had this, that it's the same background that we've seen in the previous back cover, and here there is the code that I'll not reveal you, that it's about, because each of such tome has a code that you can use in the Waehammer site, so that you can have access then to the rules in the Waehammer app, and sincerely I quite like about this. And I've had this, that it's the ending of the manual. So what to say about such book? Sincerely, I appreciate it quite a lot. It's amazing. I quite like such campaigns, so I quite appreciate such thing. Even if I would have liked even more. I'm quite hungry of such background, because there are quite a lot of things that are still to solve, and it's a bit of pity. Okay, you have to remember that has been released also articles related about other part of the novels that on the site of the Warhammer community that go to integrate such campaign. Still, even there, it's not an ending, it's something that give you some more candies about, so some changes, some little things end but not end. There are a lot of really back view of some happenings, so it's quite intriguing, really. I quite appreciate it, but at the same time I would like even more, because I really love such background. It's amazing one. Sincerely, remember that this it's not the end of the background. This finish with a cliffhanger, that it's the Vermindom, that it's the beginning with the Vermintide, that it's the new edition, the 4th edition of Age of Sigmar. So there is quite a lot. I quite like, because I can know yet that something is related about the new background, because where is Valdus? I know, because has been yet leaked by the Games Workshop, that it's related about the Chambers of Ruination, and I quite like the background, but I don't want to make a spoiler, because I think that it's something that you should, if you are not interested to follow the leaks and so on by the Games Workshop, you have to follow the background itself and have fun about it. Still, there are quite a lot of things that are really quite intriguing, but other things that I would like to have seen ended, how it's ended, the part about Kragnos against the Seraphim and so on. Nice to see the ending. Okay, there are quite a lot of things, really. But at the same time, I'm quite glad about. If this would have had other 2 books, I would have been glad to read and would have bought these ones. But I know that there will be another campaign that will continue and add some of the suspended background. And I'm quite curious to read, because these are campaigns that are really nice. There are a lot of contents that it's related about to glory that I don't play usually, but at the same time it's something that add quite a lot. Even if you are not something that are going to play, you are in a way really intrigued to read, because there are anyway information, ideas and so on. It's quite full. The artwork are amazing. I loved the artworks that we've seen in this book, because they are fantastic. The special mod that has been released are amazing. But we are also seeing some models cheese, because for example Gavi's shirt is dead. So it's really quite intriguing. There are some models that has been really lasting long since the editions, because for example we have seen that now Valdus will change, and we've seen here Valdus in the first edition, and now it changed. Same for Cool, that we have seen as a mortal, and we've seen the model, and now it's changed. I made also a diorama about, so it's really quite amazing as thing. At the same time, it's the time for see new things. I'm quite curious, because this it's not something that it's okay, some background and so on, but it's a background that continue evolution of the story of the Age of Sigmar, and I'm quite appreciate it. Write me if you see something different, you appreciate or not such saga, because sincerely I loved and I'm quite curious about. Anyway, from that mode it's everything. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell so to receive notification about new video, to comment under here about this video, or if you want to suggest me new videos. So I hope to see you again to the next time.